Welcome everyone to FCUSA TV. I'm Martin Brown, delighted to be with you here to present our College Pathway Programme, Module 215. Tonight we have three hot topics for discussion for you, and we have three special guests to help us navigate that. If you have any questions throughout the course of the show for any of our experts, please feel free to use the YouTube chat, or you can email us at info@thefootballclubusa.com. We're going to start tonight with a very special announcement. It ties into our first topic, alternate options for higher education. FCUSA is very excited to announce a partnership with the Richmond International Academic and Soccer Academy. RIASA, as it is known, is an American university located in London, England. It allows students to experience a different culture, play soccer year-round, and achieve an American degree in sports management. Through this partnership, FCUSA will host recruiting days for RIASA here in the US. There is no better way to understand more about RIASA than to listen to the students themselves. Earlier this week, I caught up with former FCUSA player Jeremy McManus and current RIASA junior from RIASA's campus.
Hi Martin. So FCUSA really helped me through the college process and deciding on a college that fit my needs. I ended up choosing RIASA, which is Richmond International Academic and Soccer Academy. It's over in Leeds in the UK. We get a dual accredited degree in international sports management. You get to play all year round in the Lancashire League, and it's a brand new social and cultural experience being over here with brand new people in a brand new country.
Thanks to Jeremy for that info. I caught up with Jeremy earlier this year while he was back in the US on his winter break, and we talked more extensively about his choice of RIASA and his experience. So be sure to check out that interview on our YouTube channel at FCUSA TV. I'm happy to be joined by one of the architects of the partnership between FCUSA and RIASA, UK Elite Executive Director, Andy Broadbent. Andy, thanks for joining me tonight. What are the main differences between studying abroad versus the US?
Sure. So obviously this is a US degree, so there's a lot of similarities there. However, the main difference you're going to see is twofold. Firstly, you have the cultural experience of living and studying abroad, based in Leeds in the United Kingdom. But secondly, in soccer terms, there's a huge difference. One of the main attractions that the US students find to studying at RIASA is the fact that they're playing a 9-month season. So they're training and playing year-round whilst studying. And they actually have an expression at RIASA, which is soccer is not an extracurricular activity, it's actually a lifestyle, which I quite like.
Yeah, that's great. So if this is something that interests our parents and our players at FCUSA, how do they go about getting more information on RIASA and the program?
Sure. Well, there are two websites which are always good to look on. Firstly, you have riasasoccer.org, which gives you a full breakdown of the program. And secondly, there's plenty more testimonial on FCUSA TV, mostly from Jeremy McManus, who you already heard from. However, if this piques your interest and this is something that you think might be worth pursuing, then we're going to have 2 open days available for FCUSA players and families. The first of which will be June the 8th up in Massachusetts. The second, which will be June the 9th here in New Jersey. And they will be open days which will have informational lectures as well as practical sessions and a chance for you to meet Mark Ellis, one of the directors of the program.
Oh, that sounds for all of our players to get involved with. So after players graduate, they've gone through their degree at RIASA, what is the pathway for those players?
For sure. So there's 2 real things we need to talk about there. Firstly is, as an undergraduate, before they finish their course, these students will not only be studying sports management, but they will also have the opportunity to study with the FA and do their level 1 and level 2 coaching badges. Now that will open up opportunities for them to work here with us during the summer vacations. And then upon graduation, they'll have those qualifications, but also their international sports management degree, which will open up exit opportunities into companies like UK Elite Soccer, back into FCUSA as a coach, or also into event marketing and management with our Events Arm Global Team Events.
Well, that's all excellent stuff, Andy. We're really excited about the partnership. I think it's a great opportunity and a great alternate option for all of our FCUSA players. So if you have any additional questions on that program or on RAESA, you can use the YouTube chat right now and ask us any questions, or you can also email us at info@thefootballclubusa.com, and at the end of the show we will take some questions on each one of our topics. So turning to our second topic of the night, all money is green, need and merit-based aid. I'm delighted to be joined by Larry Blumenstick, Executive Director for Learning Associates. Larry is a familiar face, having worked with us on our first two modules. Larry is an expert education consultant and has worked with countless students and student athletes in their college search. From our first two modules, one of the hot topics, Larry, was the financial aspect of college. So with that, is getting free money in the form of athletic, merit, or need-based financial aid a myth?
It's not a myth. That grant aid does exist. In the athletic category, it's directed in Division I and Division II to those students who clearly, in the estimation of the coach, can impact the program on arrival. Need-based aid is based upon the financial circumstances of the family, and that certainly exists. It's complex, but
Right.
it exists. And merit aid certainly exists, not at the most selective colleges, but once you go to very fine colleges that are slightly less selective, they're trying to attract students with merit aid.
That's all great information, Larry. So at FCUSA, we tend to have some really great students, for the most part. So what can academic aid look like, and where can they receive them, and where do they go to start to look for academic aid?
So academic aid is often called merit aid. It's grant aid. It's free money. It doesn't have to be repaid. You should be looking for the colleges where they are within the profile, or possibly a little high for the profile. And those colleges where their academic profile is high, combined with their talent, which they're bringing through soccer or some other form,
Right.
are the things that make them attractive to that college. That college wants to bring those students in to enrich the student body.
Excellent. So on need-based aid, Larry, how can our players be strategic about need-based aid? And where can they look, and what can they research in order to help that process?
Well, the FAFSA, the free application for student aid, for federal student aid, is the basic document. And FAFSA enables a student and their family to arrive at the expected family contribution, which is just a federal number. Okay,
Right.
It doesn't tell you what you want to pay. It tells you a number that the colleges will work with. They can also go to any college website, and on that college website, by law, there is a net price calculator. They can put in data. It's not really revealed anyplace else. And they can get some estimate of what the total cost of attendance is, what the expected family contribution is, and what the net might be. Those net price calculators are valuable. They are
Right.
not perfect.
Okay.
You can't really rely upon them entirely, but if you need to start getting an idea of how this looks at different colleges, it's a very good place to go.
Well, thanks, Larry. We appreciate all your insight on the financial aspect, and we look forward to seeing you on next module, 335, in February. So thanks to you for all of your insight on the financial aspect.
Absolutely.
Along with the financial aspect of college, one of the other major topics from our players and parents was college ID clinics and camps. So our third and final topic of the evening is college ID clinics, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm very happy to be joined by Kevin Nash, head coach of the 2000 boys blue team for FCUSA New Jersey. Kevin secured a full athletic scholarship to Loyola University, and since graduating in 2005, he has worked within the FCUSA family coaching teams. For the last 7 years, Kevin has been the head coach of the junior and senior age teams and has spent a large portion of that time coordinating with college coaches on behalf of hundreds of players. So Kev, thanks for joining me tonight. Should players be attending college ID clinics and camps, and what are a good example of these camps?
Sure, Martin. The first thing I'd like to do is give an overview of the different types of college camps, just to show people what their options are and what's out there. camps that have maybe 50, 60 college coaches at an event. Those can be a bit expensive, many of them $600–700. Second type of camp are the one-day ID clinics that a lot of local colleges have here in the area, $50–75 for the day. You've got a lot of new, at the showcase tournaments these days, they have goalkeeper, striker showcases, and a new thing that they have is on a Thursday or a Friday night, they have games where college coaches will come watch players from all across the tournament at those games. And lastly, keep your eyes open for other types of events. For example, FCUSA Massachusetts hosted an awesome event. All FCUSA players were welcome to attend, and I know they had a handful of college coaches up there. To answer your question, Martin, should a player be attending college camps? If they have interest in playing college soccer, the answer is yes. If you don't, you probably shouldn't. And my answer to that question has changed over the last 10 years. With how many players and tournaments, and you go down to Hamilton, there's 70 fields there. It's impossible for coaches to see all these players. So my advice is get out there as much as possible, especially early on.
Well, yeah, thanks. I think that's really good advice for all of our players and really sets the differences between all of these clinics and camps that are out there. Obviously, most of our, or all of our high school age teams are attending college showcase events up and down the East Coast, as well as across, in our club in Texas as well. So a lot of these events now are putting on individual skill position camps and clinics. So like the goalkeeper and striker clinics that are held at many of these showcases, really worth attending for our players.
Yeah, and again, a lot of my answers to these is around financials. These goalkeeper, striker exhibitions, I think they call them, they're pretty reasonable and sometimes free. So especially for goalkeepers, absolutely 100%. For a college coach that's looking for a goalkeeper, he could stop by there and see a goalkeeper get more action in 5 minutes than watching them all weekend. So right. Goalkeepers, absolutely yes. And for strikers, yeah, why not?
And a lot of the time, the schedule and the calendar plays a huge role in the process for players in deciding their recruitment and their admissions process for them. So what should a player's priority be when they want to attend an ID clinic for a college that they may be interested in, but it's going to be hosted on the same weekend that they're supposed to be in, maybe in another state with their team in a showcase event?
Very rarely should a player be skipping their team event, but there may be, especially senior year, there might be an event when it's crunch time where they've narrowed their college choice down to 2 or 3 schools, and it might be smart for them to attend that school clinic. But I think a lot of this is research, and have a calendar for the next 6 months of camps and your tournaments, and spend a lot of time figuring out your schedule, talking to your head coach, your club coach especially. If you do have a potential conflict, talk to the coach.
Yeah, I think that's a great point in terms of the communication between the player that's looking to go to schools and the head coach, their club coach, has to be at 100% in terms of where they are, what they're doing, why they're doing that. And I think most of the time our head coaches are able to help them along that process in having communication with these schools and the college coaches. Well, Kev, thanks for joining me tonight. We have a few minutes to get some of the questions that you've actually emailed into us throughout the night. So I'm going to invite all of our experts in tonight. So one of our parents in Texas, John, has emailed us and has asked that they're not sure where their son is a junior, and they are not sure if they can achieve any athletic money. So how much time should they spend trying to achieve athletic money versus any academic money? So Larry, that one?
Sure. I don't see any reason, it's a really good question, but I don't see any reason to separate the two. In fact, some very good awards have to do with the combination of some athletic money and some academic, or some need to think of them items will stack. That means that scholarships in one category will be added to scholarships in other categories. So I hope that answers that family's question.
Yep, thanks, Larry. So one of our parents in Massachusetts has emailed us as well and asked if the degree a player would receive at RIASA be anything less than one that is achieved here in the US. So Andy, that is for you.
Sure. I would actually argue it's a little more than something they may achieve here in the US. The degree itself is a bachelor's degree in international sports management. And the reason I say it might be a little more is because it's actually a dual accredited degree. It's accredited in the US by the Middle States and also in the UK. So the student would come out of that experience with a unique degree in so much as it would be recognized here in the US and also a qualification recognized by employees in Europe as well.
All right, and lastly, Kevin, this one is for you. And actually, it's a parent from New Jersey has emailed in and asks, how many ID clinics or camps should their daughter attend? So a little generic, but
Yeah.
can you help us out with that one?
And I think that answer could be anywhere from 0 to 10 or maybe even more. If the player doesn't have any interest in playing college soccer, I don't think I'd waste any time or money going to a college soccer camp unless you want to check out a campus. But my advice would be early on, sophomore year, maybe summer between sophomore and junior year, get out to one of those camps that has 50 coaches and get in front of as many coaches as possible early on. And as you move on through high school, maybe senior year, identify 2 or 3 schools and maybe go to those specific schools' camps for the day as you narrow down the decision.
We actually have one other question that's come in on our live chat from Rusty Reeves is, how does a student approach the coach of a highly selective D3 liberal arts school that the student is interested in? So I'm going to turn that to you first, Larry.
We have some of that going on right now with some students. In a highly selective D3 school, and this is probably true of many others, it's important, in my estimation, to write to that coach to talk about both soccer and academics. A coach in that position is in a very powerful position, Martin. He's choosing good players, and he's choosing attentive and accomplished students, and he wants to know before he dedicates an awful lot of effort to that particular student that the student can play, can impact the program, and that the student might get accepted and then apply. So the communications should be soccer related and academic or career related in every instance.
Well, thanks, Larry. I hope that helps Rusty with his question. Well, I thank everyone for their insight tonight. Don't forget that our next module, Module 335, is a personal webinar roundtable with Larry. We have the capacity for 4 webinars with 12 families involved in each of them. You must register ahead of time. Registration will be open on February 1st, and the cost of the roundtable is $49.99. You'll be able to send in any documentation to help Larry understand the process that you are in, where you are in your timeline personally, and you'll be able to have open dialogue with him on your son or your daughter individually. So thanks for joining us tonight. Thanks for watching FCUSA TV. We'll see you soon. Join the club.